Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the EnerShe Podcast, where we have conversations, never competition. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EnerShe Podcast, a space where awareness meets healing and growth gets honest, and women step fully into their voice, power, and truth. I'm your host, Adriana K. Granlund, of course, joined by my amazing co-hosts. We have Crystal Knopf and Karen Shirley. Together, we hold space, real conversations about what it means to navigate life, leadership, relationships, and self-discovery without losing yourself in the process. So today, we have a very special guest. We are joined by someone who embodies the art and science of a voice and connection, Katie McCleary. Katie is a storyteller, professor, author, and nonprofit founder whose work lives at the intersection of communication, leadership, and deep human listening. In this conversation, we go beyond surface level communication and into what it really means to listen, to lead, and to stay grounded while holding so much. We talk about burnout, identity, the inner voice that gets hijacked under pressure. You know, that voice. So, ladies, this is EnerShe Podcast, where we don't just talk about it, we be about it, the growth. We practice it, we question it, and we live it out loud. So without further ado, ladies, shall we?
Yay!
Yeah, this is awesome.
Katie, we're so excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you. My gosh, what an introduction. Hooray, hooray.
You're so great. We could not wait to have you on. Yeah, let's dive in.
Amazing.
Yeah, glad to have you, Katie. So your resume is truly incredible. You are a storyteller, professor, author, nonprofit founder even, and more. So how do you stay grounded in the middle of all of that? Please tell us.
Yeah. So, right, like we applaud achievement, but let's really talk about what happened when women are overachievers and what they're trying to cope with. So let's just get really real about that. Yeah. I'm really proud of my resume. I'm proud that I have lived within my purpose and my value system. And that's honestly what keeps me grounded, but I'm just going to keep it real. What keeps me truly grounded is finding time to be alone and with myself. And I think that that is something that women really struggle with in our lives of families and careers and the pressures that we face. And so carving out time for me has been really valuable. I walk, I sleep, I lemur. I'm like a lemur in the sun. And I protect that fiercely. Do I get 20 minutes of alone time every day? No. Can I find 5 minutes a day? Yes, I can.
Good for you. Good for you. That's so important, right? Even just to take that 5 minutes, right? Would you guys agree?
Absolutely. For sure.
I think that's a big contributor to burnout, especially with women, staying busy with a career, with a family, with doing all of it, the shopping, the cooking, the children, and then trying to find that 20 minutes by yourself. You either have to get up super early before the kids wake up, or you have to stay up later, but then that will go into your sleep time, which make you more tired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense to try to carve out time, but even to carve out time is
I think the
difficult.
carve out's hard, right? Like, so for me, it's like micro breaks. Like I have to diligently be like, stand up and go and stretch. Or like, I'm a really big fan of knocking. Do you guys know about the knocking practice?
Yes.
Literally, you stand up. You can do it sitting down too, but you basically make a fist like this and you knock all over your body. Do it right now. You were going to be shocked at how good it is. Just start. Knock up and down. Do it on your other arm.
Tapper.
Now stretch.
Ooh.
Tap. Right? Especially right here.
This is my jam.
Yeah. So I think it's about, like, really honestly, the way that I stay grounded and not crazy is knocking, tapping, sunshine, stretches, walks, and it can happen for 3 to 5 minutes. I do try before bed or when I get up in the morning to just take that beat of silence for myself. And I am a journaler. So I do wake up super early and I have a little routine with my cat and my little fake fireplace that I put on.
Love
And
it.
I read something nourishing, a page or two, and then I make a commitment to write for about 7 minutes. And so that helps. It's tiny. It's just tiny, tiny acts that really
Yeah.
help.
Love
I
that.
have a similar routine, except mine's not journaling. I get my coffee, I sit in my bed, and I try to still my mind and do
Love
some
it.
meditation and prayer.
Mm,
It doesn't always work, and I fight not picking up my phone because it starts to go off. Because once I
yeah.
pick up the phone, it's over.
That's why we call it a practice. Everything for me is a practice. And that
Mhm.
word matters because I am practicing it and I probably fail 3 times a week. But I'm still practicing.
Right, right. Absolutely. Such powerful stuff here, ladies. Routines are important, and I too struggle with not picking up my phone. It's hard because if my alarm goes off, and of course I want to press snooze, but then the minute it goes, and then I find it's instant, right? And I'm just right on that phone. So starting off my day with prayer and meditation, and just taking that time to ground myself before I get my day started is super helpful. I'm one of those busy women, like all of us are, back to back sessions, like going all the time, being a mom, being a significant other, being a boss, being, a counselor and woman in the field. And it's just finding some time to go step into the sun, let the sun hit my face, calling a friend, like, my bestie, so I can just, can you help me regulate these thoughts? Because there's so many I just need to process a few and get them out. And that I always find that really helpful.
Do you know how
So,
many thoughts we have on average per day?
do tell.
6,800. We have on average 6,800 thoughts a day. And it's not just a singular thought. We have what researchers call thought worms.
Mm,
Right? Like that spiraling nature of thoughts, not like a spiral downward, but just like, like if I think of this and it goes there and then goes there, it goes there. It's like a monkey mind, right? And so
yes.
we get suckered into them. And like, I truly have to live by the adage, don't believe everything you think, because the
Yeah.
mind is just a chattering machine.
Mm-hmm.
So if we really want to listen to ourselves, to
Mm,
know what we want to achieve, to be, to feel, to do, to have, like we have to find moments.
absolutely.
For
I love that.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Going into listening, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we're all no secret here. We're all in recovery spaces, the three of us. And so, we understand what listening without interrupting is like, having to be in that kind of space. But can you talk a little bit about what listening on that deeper level is like and how you see like what's the difference between listening to respond, listening to hear, and then what you might call true listening?
Yeah. So for the first part of my life, I've been so much about expression and talking. And now I'm at a space in my life where I just literally want to listen. But I've been listening all along through
Mm,
that and through being with other people, journaling alone, and those moments of silence that I really need as an introvert to bring my battery back up so I can go be external facing as I am. And so when you ask about like, what does it really mean to listen? I'm going to start with listening to understand. And I think that one of the most powerful things we can do is to know how our brain and our mind has built a habit around what we pay attention to and what we don't pay attention to, which is harder, right? Because how do you know what you don't know that you don't know?
hmm.
So
Mhm.
when we listen to understand, we have to come with like genuine curiosity, not what I would call curiosity fraud, which I wrote about in my book. Curiosity fraud is that person who begins every conversation with you. I'm just curious, but I'm just
Mhm.
curious. No, they have a total agenda. They're not listening to understand. They're trying to get you to say something that they can respond to, react to,
Mhm.
butt up against. That's curiosity fraud. It happens all the time. True curiosity says that I am really open and that I have cultivated a sense of presence in this moment to be silent on the inside and to bypass the habits that my brain has to want to think about things in my own way. So this is really like mastery of the mind stuff. Like, how conscious are we of how we show up? So if
Yeah.
I'm really truly seeking to understand, I will not interrupt. What I will do though is I will ask deeper questions in an open way. So
Mm.
I don't want to just be a passive listener. I want to be an engaged, curious listener. And the best way to do that is to ask what based questions or tell me more about that. So if someone is talking to me about, um, I'm just going to go like into prison work. Someone's talking to me about something that they did and it's very painful for them, but they've most of the time come to terms with it because they're sitting in prison and that's what you do. And they say something like love. You know, I've met men who have murdered the women that they love.
Mm.
And that's not love to me, right? So my brain coming from a place where, I've experienced a particular kind of abuse, like many women have. That's
Mhm.
not that's control. That's not love. That's manipulation. That's not love. But that's my own brain and habit and story bringing that filter to this experience. So if I really am about listening openly, tell me
Mm.
more about what love means to you.
Wow.
Tell
Wow.
me more about how much it hurt in that moment when that happened. So tell me more. What about? So I think that's listening to understand. And I've said a lot there and I can keep going, but I think that begins to open up into deep listening, into understanding the mechanics of your own mind and knowing that every single mind out there works extremely differently.
So true.
Wow. Powerful
Listening
words.
without your own filter, without your
Yeah.
own veil.
And it's
Mhm.
really hard to do because we can't. So that's the thing, right? It's like Jedi-like mind control. Like
Yeah.
On yourself.
wherever you go, there you are. And people are always like, I'm so afraid, if I coach them to be leaders or I coach them, like if I love big, bold personalities, super unique. I
Mhm.
was a big, bold personality for a long time and I still am.
Yeah.
It's about wherever you go, there you are. And how can you be so confident in who you are that you don't even need to interject yourself and be seen in that moment? I don't need to be seen in that moment. It is not about me.
So good.
It's about them. And I have the
Yes.
confidence to withhold in order to just be in the wonder space, awe, unknown territory of what are they going to tell me and say?
Yes. Absolutely. Powerful
Totally.
words. Powerful words. That is
And I even
so
think too, we like listen with our bodies as well, right?
yeah.
Like listening to other people through our bodies and then being able to listen to our bodies and how we can react to that and applying,
Mhm.
like removing that filter as well from that.
100%
Mhm.
Crystal. So I want to
Yeah.
tell a really funny little story about that if I can.
Yeah, please.
For years, I ran a summer program for 100 young men of color who were first generation college bound students. These young men had come from pretty difficult lives and they were trying to find their way into higher education. So we helped them. And I'm the one who comes in, the white lady who looks like your third grade teacher, telling you to share your story and to be brave. And we're going to get scholarships and you're going to be proud of who we are. And I say, every single one of you has a little hedgehog inside of you. And that
Mhm.
hedgehog goes spiky,
Yeah.
right? And when a hedgehog in real life goes spiky, it hurts to touch it. And it has like the grip force to make that little hedgehog unfurl is insane that you will actually like break its back. It's so tightly wound up. Like only a hedgehog can unfurl itself and let its spikes down.
Mm.
Mhm.
So they though those young men are doing very uncomfortable work. I'm also the first person in my entire family lineage to go to college with the exception of an uncle, climbed out of poverty, impoverished families, all the things. So I get it on a level somewhat of what they're going through. Only you can like listen to your body and when you go spiky.
Yeah.
Only you can unfurl your little hedgehog inside to be able to do that. So then I tell all these kids this, and then like there's all these funders and adults in the room one day, and I say, all right, are we ready to write our stories? Great. Who in here has a hedgehog inside them? And all these kids raise their hand. And one adult in the back goes, I had no idea hedgehogs were such popular pets.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we have to listen with our bodies too. When do I go spiky? When do I have heart palpitations? Like
Mhm.
those moments to lean in and get curious about
Mhm.
instead of hijacked by it.
I
Sure.
love that. Why do I and I for me, it's and I love that's such a great comparison. I will actually notice, I've become more self-aware and I will start to notice why I feel like what was the moment that triggered that for me? And why do I feel so I don't call it spiky, I call it prickly. Why do I
Yeah,
feel so
same
prickly?
thing.
Yeah, right? And if I'm feeling this mood and I can't seem to shake it, I will literally tell my family or my friends, I don't know why I feel very prickly right now, and I need you just to stay, just take 10 feet. Please don't take it personal, right? Because there's something happening with me, and I'm trying to figure out what triggered it and how to regulate myself again, you know?
100%. I
Yeah.
love your transparency in that. I wish more people would do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
they appreciate it. I actually don't think it bothers people when they
Yeah.
say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm in a mood right now.
Yeah.
I w I will be irresponsible to this moment, to you, to my language, my situation. I'm gonna go take 10 minutes."
Yep. 'Cause I don't
Mm.
want people to think it's about them, because it's not. Has nothing to do with them. My like, Crystal, if I call Crystal and we're talking about something that has to do with our podcast or anything else that we've got going, like, and if I'm in a mood, I don't wanna come across as short. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I've had a really busy day, and I don't wanna come across short with her, like, I adore her. And so I'll let her know, "Feeling pretty prickly. I'm back to back set, like, I'm tired," or calling my best friend and say, girl, feeling prickly, girl. I just, it's not about you. So if I'm short, I don't want you to take this personal because I have nothing but love for you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh. Thank you.
So, our podcast is really about awareness, healing, and growth. How do you see listening playing a role in healing, not just communication?
Yeah. Listening when I'm gonna say this. When was the last time when that someone truly listened to you and
Mm,
they did not interrupt or make it about themselves, and they
mm,
were just with you, and you knew that they were with you and in the presence of you, and that when those conversations happen, there's a different field of energy that happens. You feel it.
mhm.
Things begin to slow down. Your thought process becomes almost filtered and in this really beautiful way, like it squeezes out to the good stuff the more that you empty and are heard. And
Yeah.
that is neurochemically one of the closest experiences you can have to feeling love.
Mm.
So there's a
Wow.
very famous quote that to be heard is the closest feeling to love, that it's almost indistinguishable between listening and love. It's something like that. It's been butchered all over, so I've just butchered it again. But essentially, neurochemically, it is so true. And so listening is very, I call it simplexity. It's simple and complex at the same time. It is a complex process that happens in our bodies because our mind wants to chatter. Our habit wants to listen in a certain way to fix, to solve, to soothe, to say me too, to add in our me too stories.
Mm.
And so that's the complexity machination of it, is that as we listen and intake information, our brain immediately begins to make meaning about a story, about what that means, and impacts you, your identity, your way of being, your relationship. The simple part of listening is shut up and be quiet.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, right, the complex part is like we have to master that. And that is all about intention, to say, I'm showing up to listen today. And that is listening to others. But in that also, can you do that in a relationship with yourself? And so when we
Hmm.
talked at the beginning of this podcast, right, like finding moments of silence, meditation, prayer is actually stopping the complexity part of that brain habit to constantly do and be and go and make sense and blah, blah, blah. It's disrupting that to get to a space of being able to hear what is actually bubbling up underneath all the surface. Like when you feel prickly, when you feel like off, like that's when we have to go to the listening space. So whether that's with a friend and you say, "Hey, could you please listen to me?" Or, "Hey, I'm going to listen here," or I'm going to listen and I'm going to give it to a journal and let the journal listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So listening is really healing in that way. And if you rearrange the words of listen, it spells silent.
What? I love
Yeah.
things like that.
Listen, rearranged as silent.
Who knew?
Oh,
So when we want to heal, I feel like we need space. Healing is such a journey of, wow, coming to grips and terms with what is and looking in that hard mirror.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like that feels like pressure. It can feel like a rock on your chest.
Yeah.
And I think that when we want to move into that healing space, we want to be on the other side of that healing journey, we need to have windows of possibility. And that means we need spaciousness. We need silence. We need to be able to hear, who am I now? And what do I really want? Because
Mm-hmm.
that changes. And I think in healing, we slip back into old stories or old things of like, hey, when I was 20 years old, I wanted to be a rock star. Well, now I'm 45 and yeah, I'm still going to be a rock star. And then I have to listen and stop. No, I don't want to be a rock star. What I
Mm-hmm.
want is expression of soul and to feel alive.
Yeah.
How can I have that without being like a rock star?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel like listening is about healing.
Oh, God, I feel like she just gave us, you got Katie, this is so good. I feel like she just gave us one of those things that we were all talking about where when we have these takeaway moments on our podcast, when people come on, like these things that we're going to carry with us forever, I will now forever carry with me the words of listen rearranged, silent. Just beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Katie,
Yeah, that's
you
good.
are a woman who literally just does it all. I mean, the way you're speaking, you are just incredible. I'm just so curious. From the outside, it can look like you're doing it all, right?
Yeah.
But what, like all the time. But what does doing it all actually feel like from the inside? Just curious.
I'm a hummingbird. Hummingbird energy, man. It's zip, zap, this, that, up, down, all around. Get the flower. And it is exhausting. So I'm a creator and a maker. I in my brain habit of listening is really about the conceptual space in the future. Like when I listen, my default habit is two things. One, I listen to say, what can I make
Yeah.
and create out of what I'm hearing to help other people? I conflate the two concept with people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I can burn myself out because there's just something in me that says, oh my God, this is a great idea. I want this and I want to help people. And so I write a book or I start a nonprofit or I blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so when I really land and chew on an idea,
Hmm.
I go all in, like
Yeah.
hyper focus. And that's where that hummingbird energy starts to come from. And I get really excited and I start pulling people in and asking for help. And I think that's it. You have to ask for a lot of help. Like none of my accomplishments, none from a book to a nonprofit to a podcast on NPR to all these things do not happen without collaborators and other
Right.
creators in the mix.
Agreed.
So what it feels like is like this oscillating energy between hummingbird, excitement, exhaustion, anxiety, doing, to like, I have to be really careful about burnout.
Yes.
That I take a project of what am I doing? What's the purpose and intent? Who can help me? And then derive it to a deadline while also knowing that like the creative process unfolds and what actually happens at the
Mhm.
end is not what I thought at the beginning. And that's okay. So that's what it feels like every day. It feels like waking up every day and being like, what's the
Hummingbird.
to-do list today to
Yeah.
move us forward? Let's
Hummingbird.
go.
I love it. I love it. That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
It is a
I'm
lot.
like,
We started off the conversation being like, yeah, I've achieved a lot, but let's talk about women who overachieve and some problems in that.
right?
I can relate. It's very
Yeah, we've
relatable. Everything you just said was so
we've
relatable.
definitely talked about that many times here, and how
Mhm.
we're all in our 40s, and so it's like we're now at the stage of trying to unmask, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing we're talking about now, and like how we get out of that overachieving, because who are we doing that for? Like, that's not, there's no purpose anymore,
You
like,
are, yeah,
and
you're only in competition with yourself.
yeah.
I was like so happy to turn 40 and I was like celebratory. And then 42 broke me.
Yeah.
44 was like climbing out of a hole.
Yes.
Yes.
I just turned 47 and I can tell you life has gotten way better. Like what I
Yes.
thought at 40 is happening at 47. And I'm like, well, I'm almost at 50.
Mhm.
But really, I'm only in a race against myself.
That's it.
And I'm responsibly beholden to the people I pull into my world to make stuff happen. And
Mm.
that is another added layer of like, okay, yeah, it's me against the world and myself and my own competition. And I brought a bunch of other people in to help, and I need to be ethically responsible to the
Yes.
creation of our project because of that. Just like
Be-
you guys with your podcast,
Yes.
right? You're beholden to each other to keep it together.
Abs- Absolutely. You heard it, ladies. Let's keep it together.
Accountability partners here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You help, obviously, people find their voice, and speaking at the prisons, and these young men of color, and you know specifically for women, what would you say makes it harder for women to use their voice in leadership spaces? Like, that's something that I'm currently working through, as I've promoted through the ranks at work, and now I'm in a leadership position, and it's like getting comfortable with that and feeling like I have a voice and want to be heard, and but also, it's like teeter-tottering every day in my brain of what that feels like. So how do you, think it makes, where does that come from?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Crystal. And I mean, I gave two examples about men, but I do a lot of work with women. For
Mhm.
women, it comes down to a couple things. One, the feeling of imposter syndrome. And that is about confidence. Confidence is about pride. And as women, many of us are taught to be good girls. Good girls are pleasing. Good girls are adaptable and amenable and accommodating and approachable. Good girls want to be more curious, inquisitive, and collaborative. So they may not make statements or choices as definitively as their male counterparts, which is often prized in leadership. And honestly, like, you want leaders to be clear communicators. And we also want our leaders to be listeners and collaborators. So there's this weird dynamic there. Um, I think that women are thinkers and planners, and that we so spend the first 20 years of our lives figuring out who we want to become and how we will achieve that. And we will learn, coach, empower, go out and get it. And we'll build and build and build. And then one day we'll say in our 40s or 50s, okay, now I'm ready to do the thing. Men don't do that. Men just go do the thing. They just say, so it's this spectrum, right? I wouldn't say all women experience imposter syndrome or a lack of confidence. I wouldn't say that all women, aren't very clear communicators or directive or whatever. Like we're all on a spectrum of how we show up, but predominantly women struggle to be proud of their story in a way that isn't trauma dumping. So, right, like how do I show up uniquely me with agency and power in what I believe, what I'm here to accomplish, what my roles and my skills are, and how I can lead and collaborate without being pulled into, I want them to see me as a real person. I don't know if I'm showing up as such a good girl that I'm welcoming people into my environment of story. Like we just hesitate, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Does.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. And
Wow.
it's, I have a joke at work that I do sometimes because I just want people to not listen, but like be easy on me, I guess, right? Right. I'm like, I'm just a little girl, right? And
Here's
like,
the thing,
yeah,
women know I'm just like everybody else. Like
yeah,
I walked around for years being like, people be like, wow, you're so special. I'm like, no, I'm not.
mhm,
Wow, you've done so much in your life. You can too. Like, I
Yeah.
firmly believe that everything I know and do and be and have, everybody else can do. Because for me,
Yes.
my story is I grew up in poverty. I had nothing except for I had an extremely loving family that made all the difference. But like, you know, we just all believe that everybody can do what we can do. So one, no, they can't, Crystal. You are Crystal. You are Adriana. You are Karen. I am Katie. We each have a unique skill set and we get to stand proud in our story and our upbringing for that. And yeah,
right.
we do get to say, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm just a human like you.
Right.
Yeah. Two
Absolutely.
things can
I
be true.
love two things can be true at the same time.
Or
And it's
three or four or five or six things can be true.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, this is something that I was dealing with this week, and I love that we're talking about this. And I found myself for a brief moment start to question myself. And because I'm put in a position right now where I feel like I'm an expert at what I know, at who I am. And then I walked into an environment that challenged me.
Mhm.
And I haven't been this challenged, I would say, in years. And I
Mm.
started to then question myself, my knowledge, my worth. And I literally had to check myself, so to speak, get in the mirror and be like, you know you're powerful. You know that you know what
Good.
you're talking about. Don't
Yes.
question yourself. Right. And when I did that, and I had to take a deep breath, talk to the bestie, right? Remind myself who I am. Right. And then I walked back in. And the way that I walked back in to that environment, it was like a totally different version of me. And I was relaxed and I was looking around and one of my peers said something like, I don't think I know what I'm doing. And I said, honey, none of us do. I
Yeah.
was like, we're all just trying to figure it out, sweetie. And I said, and some people just are confident in what they bring to the table because they're sure of it. I said, start getting, and I literally said this to her, I said, start getting sure on what it is that you are good at and what you do know and bring that, just lead with that foot. And then it was like I was talking to her and myself at the same time. It was great.
100%, right? Every time we talk or listen to someone, it's a mirror and window situation.
Yes.
And then
100%.
so Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, had a thing in it about how she doesn't over prepare anymore. She doesn't dress rehearse anymore. And that really, I read that at a time in which I was at those points where it's like, okay, for 20 years, I've been doing all these things. What is the through thread that I am an expert at in 916 Inc., Bridge the Gap, the podcast, the youth development work, the leadership work, the coaching billionaires? Like there's a
Mhm.
through line in all of it, right?
Mhm.
And it's about confidence. But what Brene said that really hit me was like, it's about trusting yourself.
Yes.
And I think there is difference between confidence and trusting yourself, right? So confidence is a particular energy. And then trust is like, fuck, I do know my shit. Like,
Yes.
I am an expert. And like,
Mhm.
I don't need to dress rehearse, over prepare, or like I used to bring the entire kitchen sink with me.
Yep.
to prove every tool in my bag that I can show you and everything that I've ever done. It's like now I just show up and I trust myself to navigate any situation, even the unknown situations. Like I'm like, oh, I'm out of my league. This is a moment for me to just get curious and listen.
Yes. Very
So
good.
simple
So
and
simple.
so complex
Yeah.
and
Like
so real.
having that humbleness to realize like, oh, okay, like I'm here. My purpose in this right now is to learn and to be able to then take those tools and maybe the next experience I have, I'll be able to pass this forward. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, love that.
Totally. Good stuff.
I got this tattoo. I don't know how
I
to
love it. Okay,
show
I
it.
want to see it.
It says
Bring it.
trust.
Yes.
Ooh.
And so it
love.
means trust in my higher power, trust in myself. There's like an arrow pointing, trust in others, and then trust in the journey. And it's funny
Mm,
because I
love
got
that.
this in my early 30s when I was just like going through chaos, right? And now it's like much more like meaningful in my 40s, right? I've had it for like 10 years later where I'm like, oh no, like I really need to, every once in a while I just look at it and I'm like, I can do this, like trust in
That's right.
myself, you know. But yeah, I love that. That trust for me was something I had to learn. And yeah, like you said, differentiate between confidence and trusting myself. Cause I feel like trust is that kind of quiet confidence, right? Where you
Mhm.
just, you know, you
Believe.
can walk into the room and you know what you bring, you know what your skills are, you know, what you have and what you don't have, right?
Yeah.
Those, yeah, for sure.
Your
Totally.
younger self knew what's up. I really believe, and this has been true of my own experience, when I go back and look at 20 to 30 years of journal writings,
Mhm.
my 16-year-old self was writing to my 27-year-old self that was writing my 35-year-old self that was writing, and I'm writing for like my 80-year-old self. And at the same time, it's like this unfolding, like this spiral, right? Where like one spiral comes back to like that other spiral, and the other spiral comes back to the other spiral. And
Mm.
yeah, I've had moments like that too, Crystal, where you're like, oh man, the thing I did back then, thank God I did that because I need that today.
Yeah. Seriously.
For
Powerful.
sure.
Good
Yeah.
stuff, you guys. Good stuff. Love it. Katie, can you tell us about Amy and
Yeah,
how the brain hijacks us?
100%. So Amy, sorry for any listeners out there named Amy, AMY. Um, Amy is short for the amygdala. And we all have a flight fear response that happens inside us. It's, like this really old part of our brain. And our modern day amygdala doesn't know the difference between real life danger, like a gun to your head, a bear coming out of the woods, right? Like, or your identity being attacked, or the
Mm.
feeling that you don't belong, or that you're being not seen, heard, or understood. Those emotional needs that we have as part of our human being. And so Amy is short for the amygdala, and Amy is our frenemy, and she's always with you. She's always scanning the environment. So at any given second, researchers know that there are 11 million bits of information that are hitting your body.
Mhm.
Brain, your prefrontal cortex, where we think and have culture and music and imagination, we're only consciously aware of 40 to 50 bits of those 11 million bits of information. Amy is aware of the 11 million bits of information along with all these other like mechanics in your body.
Wow.
It's why you get goosebumps. It's why
Mm.
you have intuition.
Mhm.
It's everything. And at the same time, Amy can really muck up your ability to do scary, brave things
Mhm.
because your body, your brain, and Amy, they want to keep you in a state of homeostasis, which means that they want to measure and level your energy output
Mhm.
consistently over time. So if you want to change, heal, confront something that's difficult, do something that's really hard, your body and Amy actually work against you to do that. So that's why we used to talk a lot about willpower. And willpower is hard to talk about because it's tied to privilege and bootstrapping and all this stuff. But at some level, like you have to push outside of your comfort zone because
Mhm.
he wants to keep you playing small
Yeah.
and thinking, all right, I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
So Amy hijacks you, and she hijacks you through chemicals and hormones. And, we really are biological chemical bags of,
Mhm.
here's how I'm going to say it poetically. We, um, I believe we do have a soul. I also believe that on this material, physical earth, we are organic flesh bags that carry the ocean inside of us. Like we carry salt
Absolutely.
water inside of us that like is the electricity that is conducted in our nervous system. And our
Mhm.
nervous system tells us how to respond and react to the big, giant, scary world around us.
Yeah.
And so Amy's a part of that. And I often ask people, is Amy in charge or are you in charge?
Mm.
You, the spirit, you, the one of soul, you, the one of purpose and knowledge and willpower. You have to work in tandem with Amy. And it's sometimes you got to tell Amy to shut up.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. If I
Amy
don't
was
tell my
working
Amy
overtime yesterday.
Amy was working overtime yesterday,
She
Karen.
was working overtime yesterday.
Do you have to put her away in a room? You know what
She
I
did.
mean?
She did. She went to sleep last night and she didn't wake up
Nice.
today,
Thank
I
God.
think.
Thank
Good.
God. Yeah. She's
There's
resting.
so many psychological studies done around the power of having like naming your anxiety, naming your reaction, naming the chattering voice in your head that is sour and negative, right? Like so
Mm.
actually looking at yourself as a
Mhm.
character in your own life and saying, that's Katie, that's Amy. I have other names for other things that bog me down, like, oh, there's Karen again.
Mhm.
There's actually a lot of psychological knowledge about the power of being able to objectively look at yourself in
Yeah.
different ways. And Amy's just that chemical, biological part of yourself that's running a lot of the show that you were unaware of.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
feel
Oh,
like when we, at least for me, when I got into my I'm 42, when I got into like this stage of life, Amy was shouting. Amy went from like being quiet and like, what is that? What is that? To now I'm like, Amy, shut right? Like it feels like she's much more powerful in my brain, or at least not more powerful, but I'm more aware, right? And so it's like a good and a bad, right? It's like, okay, I'm more aware so I can address it versus I'm also more aware so it's a lot louder, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Awareness is everything. And then I want to take it 2 steps farther. Like, awareness is everything. I mean, the minute that you start to like pull the veil back from your own being and your life and your story, and you're growing like critical awareness, everything. What you
Mm.
do with that awareness is what matters, right? So, like, how do I become more adept at, and I have a triple A analogy here. So, awareness, adeptness, and agility. So I want you to be aware, and then I want you to be really adept at how you show up, how you want to show up, who you want to be, who you want to become, what you want to accomplish. Like, be so good at that.
Yeah.
And then be agile. Life
Mm.
happens. People are different. What you think you had built in your head at the point A is not what you're going to end up with in point C. So always being agile
Mm.
in all the aspects of yourself to meet the moment that you're in. So, yeah, that triple
Triple A.
A makes you limitless in my
Love the triple A. That is
yeah.
great. These are some really good
Oh,
things I'm going to be using for the rest of my life, Katie. Thank you so
you need
much.
merch, Katie. You need
Yeah,
merch.
you definitely
I would
need
love that. Just put it on the list. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
let's add it. Add it to the list of things.
Add it to
Things
the
to
list.
do.
So, Katie, we really enjoyed you today. I have another question as we wrap up today. For the woman listening right now who feels overwhelmed, like she's holding too many pieces of her life together, what would you want her to truly hear today?
You have full permission to set down your heavy water because guess what? You will pick it up. Life will demand of you to pick it up. You have to give yourself permission as an act of self love to let go of heavy water if you want any chance at flying and feeling freedom and love on the other side of that healing journey. You are in a healing journey and in a moment, and I know that freedom and spaciousness and love and joy lives on the other side of that, but only if we can learn how to let go of that heavy water for at least a moment or two, and then more and more and more and more.
Mm, mm.
That's what I would say. That's a gift you give yourself, and only you can give yourself that gift.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. And ladies and individuals, people out there listening, I hope that you took all of that in. So as we wrap up today, ladies, thank you so much for a heartfelt conversation. So thank you to our guest Katie McCleary for sharing her wisdom with us today, her lived experience, and of course the depth of her work and her voice, the leadership and the true listening. Katie, your perspective on communication, emotional awareness, and like what it means to stay grounded while holding so much responsibility is just so powerful. And we here at EnerShe Podcast really appreciate the way that you help people, Katie, not just speak, but truly feel heard and learn how to be heard. So if listeners are feeling inspired by this conversation and want to learn more about your work or how to collaborate with you or explore how to work together, where can they find how to connect with you, Katie?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn at Katie J. McCleary. I am now building my Substack and my new website, katiemccleary.com. So katiemccleary.com will probably be up by the time this podcast comes out. But just do the Google. I am
Yeah.
very Googleable. Just Google and you'll
She
find
said, Google me.
Google me. You'll
Google
find
me.
me. I'm
That's
all
a
over.
that's a humble flex right there.
Yeah, I
Google
love
my
that.
name. You'll find
Google.
me.
You'll find me. There's lots of ways to get to me.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Katie. And to everyone tuning in, thank you so much for being here with us on EnerShe Podcast, where we continue to grow, reflect, and rise together. Until next time.